Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another rhythm game reaction. I guess that's what this general series is going to be. It's mostly Mitsuya Sleepy's request from my Patreon producer queue, and this one is Aegleseeker, another one from Silentroom, and apparently an artist called Frums. That is a boss theme for the game Arcaea. So I have heard songs from this game already, but as I've learned with basically all of these games, I have no clue what the music is going to be like. I assume it's just going to be hectic and crazy all at once, always, all the way through. So I guess we're going to find out what this one's like. We got 7 minutes worth of song to listen to. So let's go, shall we? Well, yeah, I was right. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Take me to dinner first, Silentroom. Jesus Christ. You can't just start like that. Okay, there's the hard style. There's so many rhythms happening. Oh, let's, yeah, back off a little bit. Have some chiptune, why not? Don't let it lie to you. I'm not letting it lie to me. I'm expecting it to go right back to the hellscape of sound it was. Oh, maybe not. I don't want to get my hopes up. Ooh, okay. There's something I can sink my teeth into. It's kind of blending the two. It started off really hectic like that, but it just fused the sounds together there. And now, taking a step back. That was just so much rhythm all at once. I was focusing a lot on each individual one. It was just so many that I needed to get real quiet. I can't talk when I'm thinking about a song that complex. It just had so much. And I don't even know if we're halfway through this yet. But I see why this is a boss song for sure. Ooh. We'll get a little crunchy there. Alright. Is that a... Is that like sample there, that one? Is that the sound of a... That sounds like a cutting sound in an RPG I've played before. Alright, and total failure. Everything is going terribly wrong. Oh no. Random text is appearing on my screen. And there go all of the colors. Why is my sprite doing the Macarena? What? It just sounds like a critical failure. Which, again, would make sense in the context of it being a boss theme. This is nuts. I do, in fact, have input and words I want to say, but I'll save them for afterwards. I did not mean to do that. I bumped my desk. But now I know we're about 4 minutes of 7. All right. How dare you break that major progression like that? More like dissonant room, am I right? I'm sorry. That was stupid, I'm sorry. That was dumb. Are we going to see the return of the nice melodic line, or are we going to get that hard bass hell again? I wonder. All right, Porter Robinson, chill. I feel like we're going to get that mix again. Yep. I really like this part a lot. The beginning was a little bit much for me. But like once it kind of settled into itself and started hitting this part at the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, here I am. The melody is just really beautiful. Excuse you, Silent Room. You gonna do that again, or was it just that one time? I think it was just that one time. That completely different line in there, it was like a different key and everything. What the hell? It sounded cool, it just caught me off guard. Like most things in these songs do. Is it done now? Talk about a critical failure right there at the end. Jesus. How am I supposed to figure this song out? So as I've said, these types of songs can be hit or miss for me because in my neurodivergent mental space, a lot of information can be hard to process. So that's kind of why the beginning was a little bit much for me. There was just so many things that I found myself compartmentalizing each thought process into its own couple of seconds, which takes away the whole experience in a broad scheme for a song, for me at least, because of my own issues. I'm not blaming Silent Room or Frums for any of that, of course. It's just my own processing being a little stunted when it comes to that sort of thing, and it's just a lot of information. Once I locked into it a little bit, and once it's kind of slowed down in that spot, I was able to understand what just happened and like figure it out. And then as the song continued on, the melody kind of changed, all these spots being brought in here, plenty of great usage of many samples. Like I said, that one that sounded like a cutting or slashing sound effect from an old like SNES title that I would not be surprised if it was, given the context of this whole soundscape with the chiptune and everything else, and even the art having a SNES controller in the background. You got that Famicom energy, and I'm here for it. I just don't know how to process the constant movement of these beats. I have a very similar issue with a lot of very progressive like prog songs in general, even if they're much more simple. Like I have trouble processing some songs by Rush and Tool that are just a little bit much for me. This is worse in that case because there's so much more information, but in my opinion, hate me if you want, these types of songs are so much harder to compose and make sense. Even the spots in there where like it had that critical failure spot in the center, I was like, what's happening? But I understand what's happening. Like I know what's being said and I know what it's trying to convey in its own self-contained story. So moments like that don't really confuse me as much. I just have to let them happen. You have to let the song breathe and go through its paces to understand the full story. You can't just experience 10 seconds of it and assume you know the whole thing. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to people listening to music. Like for me, the first 40 seconds of the song, a little bit much. If the whole song was like that, not so much. But if I had stopped there, I wouldn't have gotten to that beautiful melody line. All of these great evolutions throughout the song, utilizing all these different spots, breaking things down, taking a step back, using just the piano to crank it back in, and all of these cool effects being added through here. There was so much neat movement in this song that I would have completely missed out on if I hadn't given it a chance. So if anything is going to come out of this video, it's give music a chance. Never stop listening to a song 10 seconds in because you just don't like how it sounds. Don't be a priss. Give it a chance. Actually give it a legitimate fair shake. It can surprise you just like these songs have done for me. That has happened quite a few times on this channel where I've started off kind of being a little apprehensive and then it gets to a spot and I'm like, this is the best melody or the best singing, the best bass line I've heard in the past month. And it's just, that happens. And even in those spots where you feel a little bit overwhelmed or you're not quite loving it, you might understand something in hindsight, like I was after I got past that very beginning section and I was processing it as the song continued on. It almost felt like I was put on a catapult and just sent into the atmosphere. Like I was just careening through outer space with a really fucking cool visual scape in front of me, like 2001: A Space Odyssey level of colors just flashing by my face, and I was just overwhelmed by all of that information. And I feel like that's exactly what it was trying to do, because in the context of the song and it being a battle theme for a boss character, you would be a little surprised and feel like you're thrown into the fray with nothing to help you. No defenses, no answers, just information. And that is terrifying in its concept to start with. So then breaking that down and allowing the song to breathe and have different movements throughout fits all of that, where you start to understand it a little bit. You start to figure out what you got to do. You start figuring out how to handle the situation, and then something goes wrong right where that critical space is. And it's just like, yeah, I'm nerding about a story about a game in a rhythm game that I've never touched, played, or seen. This is what I mean. Music is beautiful, and people even making songs like this that might have those spots that are a little bit much for you might tell you something about the story that you would have never had even dreamed would be there if you didn't just listen. So I think that is beautiful and art incarnate. That's music. That's just the beauty of it all. I love this song, not because I love every aspect of the song itself. It's still a little bit much for me. It's still a bit of an information overload for my own brain. I wouldn't listen to this in my casual life, you know? I wouldn't just put this on while I'm trying to work on something. It would be too much for me. But I love that it can tell that story, that it serves exactly the purpose it is intending to do, and making clear those marks throughout the song, what is happening and why you should feel a certain way at that time. That's what music is. And it's really nice that I can hear that and experience that and not have this bias that is completely unjustified that I feel like a lot of people end up falling into. Where, like, even stuff, the universal hate of country music is a very good example of that. They just like, I don't like the sound of it. And it's like, there's so much good country music out there. You got to give it a shot. It's not that you'll like everything. It's not that everything will be your cup of tea. But every song has a story, and every song has that potential to be your next favorite song, then you don't even know, you know? You gotta give it a shot. So great job on Silentroom for this extended version. Great job on Frums, who I believe worked mostly on the general melody lines of this song. I'm not entirely positive, but I feel like that's what would be happening here. If this is a full extended version, quote unquote, then it would probably be Frums' melody line and then all Silentroom's extended bits and evolutions on top of that. But I might be wrong there. either way, it's a gorgeous song and a great collaboration between the two, getting all of those sounds together and making them, even if chaotic at moments, exactly what they need to be for the story in that moment. And that's just fantastic for me. But I think I've yapped about music long enough, so thank you all so very much for listening and watching. And if you want to request a song that you want me to hear, leave it down in the comments below and I will do my best to get to it. Thank you again to Mitsu for putting this into the Patreon producer queue. And if you want to follow me and support me for more videos in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!